So here it is, we're in August, still in quarantine as you can tell from this crazy beard, and we're still getting free games through Twitch Prime. So let's take a look at the month of August. So before I continue actually reviewing the games, I was going to talk about the Twitch Prime has been putting out a lot of games, and a lot of them come out pretty much once a week, and then they do a bulk like 5 games every month. So I'm going to change the format some and probably not cover the ones that come out every week because I find it's annoying to be like, hey, download this before the 21st or something like that. And depending when you watch this video, you may miss out. So I don't want that to happen. So I'm probably not going to talk about those unless there's a really standout game that I do try. So the game clip you're seeing now is Neuro Voider. Again, that ends the 21st, and that's a pretty good game, but I'm not going to go into detail of this. So I'm going to stick to the main 5 games that do come out. And just to recap, if you want these Twitch Prime games, if you go to twitch.amazon.com, you can connect your Amazon Prime with Twitch, and you'll see them at the bottom of the list here. The way I usually grab them is when I go to twitch.tv and look around the top right, you'll see the crown here. And usually there's a notification. That's why I go here, so it shows me when something's new, but it's hard to find it. Generally, the free games are at the bottom of the list. The shortcut I do is look around for the border. Usually it's in a violet border or a black border if it's the SNK games. So that's how you get to these games. I know it's a little confusing, but that's some of the ways to get these. And again, I mentioned SNK. A bunch of another group of games came out that are ending this year. I'm not going to cover those as well. Generally, if you like the company SNK, you're going to get these games. They are older, and they're 40th anniversary collections, one of them, which is pretty good if you grew up in that era. All right, so let's talk about the games that actually came out in August. First up is Shaq Fu, A Legend Reborn. This came out 2 years ago in 2018 and got a Metacritic score of 49. It's usually $20 and it's about 3 hours of gameplay, and the developer here was Big D's Productions. I don't know how to talk about this game, so I'm going to let Shaq give you a line from here.
I started out like any other Chinese orphan.
And that kind of sums up the game for me. This is a side-scroller beat-em-up, and there's 6 stages. The overall goal here is your master who trained you protects the world and from the demons, so they're coming out and attacking the world, and your goal is to kill the celebrities that they took over to stop this invasion. So it's a really goofy game, as you can tell. There you'll see a lot of store names are goofy. My favorite highlight was you get icy hot to heal your health. I always thought that made me laugh. But this overall game of this side scroller remind me a lot of the Turtles arcade game or Turtles in Time. Especially the look remind me of when they did the reshelled, and you could just hit people into the screen. So a lot of this just reminded me of that format. There's also these cool cuts that happen. So the game is overly like simple. You have X to attack, B to do this like power hit in the middle of a combo, and Y does this special. And sometimes you'll get this cut where like here you can see Shaq kicking someone. And it's cool, but it does get annoying because you'll be in fights and it'll kick in and you're like, crap, now I gotta watch this. The jokes here are wide range of they made me laugh, and then some were just really bad or just bad direction. There's also this power-up sequence you can get in the levels called Big D, and you turn into this giant robot mech thing. And that was fun at first. You destroy a lot of enemies, then it lasts a long time in this stage on the first level, and it wasn't challenging. Like, you were just hitting people, and you can only hit so much before you overcharge, and you have to do the special to decrease that. So it was just like going on a crazy spree. The cutscene animations, wonderful. I enjoyed those a lot. I don't know why I like this animation, but I thought this was cool, and that actually kept me in the game for a while. There, you also get the Barack DLC with this. So you play as Barry Barack. And again, I'll let him talk here.
It was time for Barack to light some bitches up.
And just as goofy. I did like his cutscenes more, like the special animation that you got. But overall, I don't know how to describe this because the game was simple playing and it got repetitive, but it wasn't bad looking and all, so I do agree with that, like, 50% score here. But I'm gonna lean to download. It was a goofy game. I did kind of enjoy myself a little bit, but I didn't feel like I'll go back to this game. So I didn't really take it serious to begin with. It was Shaq Fu. I knew it was kind of a different game that I probably wouldn't enjoy much. So yeah, download this if you just want to play a game that would pass time by. And it was a $20 game, so it's kind of cool. If you remember Shaq Fu back in the day, you may have a little nostalgia to play this. If you really hate the old arcade beat-em-ups where you just move to the next section to fight the next wave, so you have to stay there, then fight the next wave, you're not going to like this. And the bad jokes, it's heavy on Asian jokes, so that may be a turn-off for a lot of people. Next up, we have WARSAW, which came out in 2019, and this is a grid-based RPG game that had a Metacritic score of 62, was $24, and about 6.5 hours of gameplay. It was developed by Pixelated Milk. I actually like that name. Never heard this company, though. And at first, when I played this, I thought this was the same company that did Darkest Dungeon, but this game was inspired by it, and you could tell heavily by the graphics. I always liked this style from the Darkest Dungeon. I still haven't played that game, but they look awesome, and the little scenes here are cool. And when I said grid system, this is like a 2-lane, I'll call it. You got a top row and a bottom row, and you have to stay in there, and that depicts what attacks you can do. Some attacks you can only hit like the back 4. So think of this grid system, you're not crossing into each other's path. There's like a line in the middle, and you can only move on the left side. Your opponents are on the right side. So you have some moves that only attack like the back 4, some moves that go across the whole row. So you have to kind of line up and pick your shots to do this. And based off of that, this game is very difficult. When I review these games, I usually play on normal because I depict normal as how developers intend it to be played. It gives you enough difficulty to make you struggle, but not overly difficult where you have to keep playing the same level. But this normal was hard. I actually lost most of my team in the second mission because you'll see here that like you'll start fighting and it'll be 5 against 4. So you have to be really strategic, and I just wasn't prepared for those fights. There was a story, so this takes place in World War II with the invasion of the Warsaw, the place, and you're trying to bring up an uprising. And like I said, it felt unfair at times with these battles, but you just had to strategize, and I did feel there was a lot of mechanics here. When you do lose a character, you lose them permanently, so you have to be real careful and make sure everyone survives, so you'll do a lot of healing, especially your core players. You don't want them to die. You can pick up recruits that can kind of help as well. But I would say download this game. Even though I had a lot of struggle, I saw a lot of value in this, and it looked cool. If you're a fan of them grid-based systems, you'll like this, and this is a challenging RPG, so you'll like that. Darkest Dungeon's pretty hard too, so obviously this is based off of that. So you may want to play it if you're a fan of that game. If you don't like games that you'll struggle, this 2-lane battle system is odd, so some people may not like that. So that's where I would feel you probably want to steer clear of this game. They have this weird map view. You have to walk around. You only have so many points to. I didn't find that too useful, and that slowed it down a little bit, but it wasn't bad in the grand scheme of things. Next up, we have Treachery and Beatdown City. This came actually out March of this year. Got a Metacritic score of 64 and runs about $20 normally. I couldn't find a length of this game average time, and I didn't complete this one. This is an RPG game, and it's an old school style, and it reminds me of a look kind of like Final Fight. And it reminded me, I'm pulling out Ninja Turtle references today. It reminded me of Ninja Turtles 1 with the map view a little bit. So it was like a mix. So this is about the president being kidnapped by ninjas, and you play a female role to help solve this. And the female role becomes important because at the beginning, you kind of see her struggle in life because she's at the gym, and the gym owner basically dismisses her when she talks. So you can see there's a lot of outrage here and trying to stand up for herself. So where this game stands different is the fighting system. So you have a button you can kind of jab, and then you hit this other button, X on the Xbox, to enter this combo mode. So you get this old school menu where you pick your moves based off how many points you have, and then you'll execute that combo. And your opponents have the same thing. So when they do that, you have the option to block or just take the hit. Obviously, if you block it, it takes some more points. And how you earn points is like landing these combos and over time. And this is actually where the game fell flat for me. During this fight here, you'll see I'll do my combo, and then it's like me running around waiting for enough points to do the next combo. So I did like this system until I hit these points, and it was kind of rough at these times because I felt like I was fighting a repetitive game. I didn't feel too much of a challenge from the parts I did play yet. The map was kind of interesting, but I felt like that I should have just been continuing because you do some backtracking and you can talk to different people here and there, but I didn't find it overall exciting. So to me, I would say this is not a download. If you want to download this game, it's if you did like this fighting system. I feel like people from like the Super Nintendo times will like this a lot more. I wasn't a fan of those games, so that's probably where my dislike does come in. So it's a new twist, and it's an interesting RPG. For not downloading it, again, it's very old school based. You got these old menus. When I saw it, I was like, oh god, I hated these things. So that's probably what's going to make you stay clear of this game. Next up, we have Blazing Chrome, which came out last year and got a Metacritic score of 79. This is about $17 going to run you, and it's 2 hours long. And this is from the Arcade Crew Publishing Company. We had 2 games last month from this company that I really enjoyed. So we're going to see if they can stand up to this with their 3rd game on here. So the games I was referring to was Kunai and Dark Devotion from last month. And as you can tell from this gameplay, it's a Contra clone. So it's a lot of the shooting diagonals. They did add this lock mode where you can aim. So you can hit this button to stand still and move around to aim. So you can get better control. And that comes in handy a lot of times. I thought this wouldn't be helpful, but it did help me out throughout the game and made the game more enjoyable with learning this. Graphics were very clean and it kept a good old school style. And I enjoyed it a lot. The story here, another one with overturning some ruling. So the robots here are taking over, and you're mostly humans. There's this one robot on your team to help overthrow this. Power-ups are simple and fun. Very Contra, you pick up these items and you get this cool gun. When you do die, though, the item you have selected, the power-up, does go away if it's not the base one. So learning that, I was able to switch to like my gun during regular battles so I could save up these specials for the bosses. So it's a nice variation of the levels. You're kind of in this like burnt up city the first level, then you go to this train riding on motorcycles, so it's kind of cool. This game was hard as well. But I will admit, Contra wasn't my best game, so this style of game does not fit to me. But what really stood out to me was the bosses. Like, here's the first boss you encounter, and it's like 2 stages. And it was very interesting to fight them, and I enjoyed this a lot. Like, I had a lot of fun getting to this, and I was more curious of the bosses. Another game that really drew me in with the bosses' artwork and how you fought them. So, again, a download. The Arcade Crew has won my heart here, 3 out of 3 so far. I look forward to their games they publish. Right now, the Pro here, it's a fun twist to an old classic. If you do like Contra, I highly recommend you get this game. I think it fit that genre very well. And the con here is kind of like me, but I didn't hate Contra. I understood how good it was. I just sucked at it. But if you did hate that game, I wouldn't look at this game at all. You're probably wasting your time. Last, but certainly not least, is Chroma Squad. It came out in 2015. I was shocked I never heard of this game for being 5 years old. Got 75 and was actually published by Namco. And that shocked me more because I never heard of this game. It's going to run you about 13 hours and it's $15. And this is an RPG. The story was very unique. The story starts off as you're these 5 stunt people and you're working on this TV show, but all the stunt people do all the work while the actors don't do much. So you have these costumes of red, pink, yellow, blue, and black. I don't know. I, for some reason, felt like I've seen this before somewhere, but not sure where. So since the stunt doubles feel like they do all the work, they went off and left this production because they felt like they were doing the same moves over and over against the bad guys. So they want to start their own TV show. So here I started a TV show that was called Mighty. and here's my crew here. And you can go ridiculous or serious. I do like the standard crew you have. So I had Dude Lee was my lead, who is this martial arts and was famous for all the martial arts films. Joe Hansen here. But then I had a beaver as this last character. So you can go crazy. There's the alien. I try to go semi-serious here. So now we're starting our own show, and this is what the whole RPG is about. You're trying to gain ratings and do cool stuff and match the little side missions, bonuses, objectives to get more ratings. And you kind of fight, and this is a grid style. So you have this whole platform, and this was a unique twist. It was kind of simple. You just had to get next to the guy or do some of your special moves, like the gun had a range. Use the grid there, but you had to be careful because one boss you fought was a barrel, and he did this roll, either going straight up and down or left and right, which can attack anyone in there. So if you put your people in a line, that could be very dangerous. But setting up, they had an awesome cool mechanic of teamwork. So you can hit a character, do teamwork, which they'll either double attack if they're next to someone, or you can use them to get further away. So that was a cool thing. And if you did teamwork at the end of your turn, you were able to heal anyone adjacent to you. So you kind of want to keep your crew together, but not too close. And then you got a finisher. If you put everyone around the bad guy, especially the boss, and then everyone hits teamwork, you do this crazy move to do that. I did like the mechanic of you could fight without the costume and then switch to the costume. Again, don't know where that came from. And I like the upgrades. They were cool. It was like you can get a padded suit or a fake sword, toy gun. So it kept this whole theme of the episodes going. And as you can tell by me talking about this is a download. I had a lot of fun playing it. It was goofy, but not over the top. And I just enjoyed it. So this is a fun and entertaining game. Had a cool grid-based system. And I like the graphics overall. The cons here is the old school look could be a turnoff here. And if you weren't into 90s like superhero TV shows, you may not have that nostalgia to link you in, kind of like I had. So overall, this was a good month. I enjoyed all the games. The Beatdown City one, I actually was debating to say not download or download, but I didn't really care for it much. So I did put it there, but it was a hard decision. So I thought this was a really good month for Twitch Prime. Check out all these games, actually. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and please let me know in the comments what you thought. Peace.